Hi, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are. Today is the 2nd of June 2025. Today is technically a Monday, but it's a public holiday. It's considered as a rest day in Malaysia. Yep, that's right. Some of you will not know I'm from Malaysia. So, hi from Malaysia and towards the world. Anyway, I'm doing this recording early in the morning. Quite so. Able to recharge and reorganize myself for the work. I've been quite tiring. But anyway, um, it's a long weekend considered. Well, last week was considered a long weekend for America. This week is considered a long weekend for me in Malaysia. So yeah, great day. So I've been this week. I got my new notes that I've got from my auctions. All this I got it from the auctions. Give a shout out to the auction that I went through. This one is Cat's auction. Really good one, to be honest. Really good one. I encourage to look for other auction houses and so forth. Go through a trial run or test run by bidding small items before you jump into a big rare items. Sometimes the big rare items you want it, but you may not trust or have confidence in trusting what should I say the auction house. You worry they might be fake or counterfeits or not real, scam. Try something smaller that you can afford to burn. And then once you got the trust, you're quite confident, then go on the next step higher, and then the next step higher, and then the next step higher. For me, I've been quite consistent, so Cats has been done very nice. The other three on top is actually the US dollar. It's another auction house locally in Malaysia. Again, I did review this auction house called Unique Auction. Again, they are very, very good, I would say. I get some of my points I bought there, and I didn't expect to win, to be honest. And in the Unique Auction, I didn't expect to win. I'm the only bidder, basically, the only bidder. But looking at the price of the notes, and of course now this condition, is kind of worth the money to buy, because even its face value, each of them is already worth like say 400, about 900. So exactly I got it around 900 plus the surcharge fees of the auction fees and blah blah blah, the premiums. It add up for about another 100. So I probably paid about 1,000, 20,000, 80 plus 2% credit card. If you can pay cash, it's even cheaper. So yeah, but the actual value of it is about 1,900 to 1,600, the lowest point of this note. Low very fine and high very fine condition. So it's between 1,600 to 1,900 in value. So again, they will come in one lot, three notes in one lot. So again, I cannot stress the quality of their work in keeping things safe. That is my receipt. Keeping things safe, they have the lot number sleeve and the hard protective cover, but of course it's in one bag because they are considered as one lot, so they put it in one lot in one bag. Again, every lot you buy, they will provide one bag like this. I think at this early point of stage, as a promoter of their company and so forth, this is very good. Again, I could not stress this out. Services, and I think Unique has done a very, very good job. I like how they did their presentation in the packaging of the items. All right. I'm pretty happy at it. But one thing maybe will improve, that they might separate this banknote into separate individual sheet like this, put it one in this paper in this sleeve to protect each individual integrity of the note. But I wouldn't complain much, because one the note they put it in one protection hard protection together, each of the note has already had its protection sleeves. So it's a somewhat already protected, so why would it beats the purpose to have that. But for me, I think it go a little extra mile. It will do separate it, they put separate sleeves to ensure the integrity of the note is in good shape, uh, not being damaged while in the auction house process of bidding and so forth. I mean, that's an extra mile that I kind of sensitive on keeping things in good condition, because anything damages or what, the buyer usually gets really disappointed in that, which happened to me in cats. One of the delivery, one of the notes is supposed to be uncirculated. It became about uncirculated when I arrived at my doorstep, because of they don't have a hard copy, so the mail is actually bended slightly. Is bended, so the note is already bended, but it's still not bended to the point that you can see. But physically, the note, you feel it. There will be a like fold, counting folds. So it's from I purchased in accordance to a condition of uncirculated, then it became about uncirculated. One thing I like about that auction house or Cat's auction is they do get feedbacks from bidders like me. I actually sent a WhatsApp to them, and photos showing that the condition was not good, and then apparently they heard my feedback. And then when I got my items this lately, last week I got these 3 items also from them. They actually add in the hardcover, much more increase their protection. So they do listen and they do comply. So that's one good thing about the auction house. And this $1 Australian out of Fluke, I got this for just 20 ringgit or so. So I think it's in a not a great condition for a small denomination. But one thing, I got this one because it has Commonwealth of Australia. Something that I don't have in my Australian collection. Most of my paper money, the paper type of Australian banknotes in the after the Second World War, most of them is just Australia. They don't have the word Commonwealth Australia. So we'll get back to that later. So this is the only note I got. So out of the blue, yesterday Sunday in the flea market, and my usual hotspots or watering hole, you might call it. And I just bought one for $20. Not too expensive, not too cheap, I would say, for its condition. It is what it is. Sometimes you have to pay for the upkeep for them. They rent out the shops, they pay the electric bill, water bill, and their time and their family. So expenditure, $20 is something is pretty alright. You don't want to go low ball until they can't feed themselves and starve them to death or put them out of the business. We don't want that. Well, I don't want that. Alright, sorry about my voice sounding a bit groggy, a bit rough, because early in the morning, most of the time my voice is like this. That's why I prefer to do it at night, where my voice is a little bit better. Because after it's like turning on the engine in the morning, you let it warm it up. So I'm trying to warm up my vocal cord. But by the evening, the engine run very well, then everything speaks quite well. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh, my mistake there. Oops. Carelessly, I moved my tripod out of my view. Sorry about that. Can I do this for just personally for myself? So yeah, don't really bother about that. Okay, so let's go through the notes that I have purchased. So let's go with the big boy one. Let's see this one. This one, I got it for a very good price in auction. About 25-30 euros for its price. So it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 150 ringgit, which is at the market's ballpark right now. Not many people have this one. It's a commemorative banknote to the Central Bank of Suriname for 55th anniversary. It was issued blah, 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 April 1st, 2012. You can pause the video if you want to have a read of the story of the banknote, the whole blah blah blah. Alright, here's the web page you can go to. You can see that. So it's called www.cbvs.sr. Phone numbers, central bank, watermark, address, and then it's phone number and the fax number. Surprise, surprise, they still use 6 digits. Right now, most of people got 10 digits. This is the phone number. Well, my house is upgraded to 8 numbers. Haven't gone to 9 numbers yet. But anyway, this note is limited print to 50,000. Yeah. Sorry, let's talk about the country as well. If I'm not mistaken, this note is only printed 50,000. So, yep, there you go. You open it, it has a certificate. This reads, this certificate of authenticity printed on security paper certifies the genuineness of the enclosed commemorative 50 Suriname dollar banknote. The certificate goes along with each and every original banknote on a strictly consecutive numbering from 1 to 50,000 units. So this certificate crossed to the number only to 31598. So this is the front of the note, which I actually like the coloring of it. It's very beautiful. Okay, basically it tells the founding presidents, the part of the president of the Central Bank of Suriname. This one is talking about the mission of the central bank purposes, the seal of the bank here, and then the year that has been established until 2012. This banknote was 2012 issuance. $55, and here's amount of security features like the watermark, rolling stars of the silver thread, the LED red LED, its look numbers, which is technology they use. They call it laser generated numbering in negative type space. And then they have a spot optical variable security features based on printed magnetically oriented pigments, showing a spherical effect and an overlaid laser generated structure of the 55 inside the circle shape of the skull color orb kind of thing, and step color shifting ink. When viewed with 2 different angles, a distinct change between green and blue is seen. So yeah, one of the security features they have. So there are 6 security features, or 5 out of 6 of them, other than the number 1, the watermark, is copyright, is registered as copyright. So yeah, now the certificate number again, that's how it was 31598. The banknote number is 31598. Same number and same serial number. CB is Central Bank 55. The first 55 number is 55 years, and then the remaining 5 numbers at the back is following the certificate number is 31598. Very beautiful. I like the 50 and the color and the building, making it commemorative by adding the few words there, like the central bank number and the year it was established to 2012, 55 years. It looks really beautiful, and that what it sparks me to acquire this note. At the moment, I'm not planning to sell this note, so it's one of my personal collection. But again, I don't collect Caribbean banknotes very serious. So if I need to let go, I'll probably do let go if I needed more funds or more capital. So there you have it for this one. Pretty much a very good. So it's a note, includes the commemorative folder. Quite cheap, simple folder, nothing too fancy about it, but yeah, it's sufficient for its $55. Okay, I'll put it one side here on the left. Next would be a Swiss or Switzerland franken, 20 franken, so 10 franken. Most of you who are European, you know that Switzerland is not part of EU, separated, and they've attained their own sovereign still, maintaining its currency rather integrating euro. Recently, I think a couple of years back, between Malaysia and I think actually the world and Switzerland, they unpacked their currency. So for those of you who bought a lot of Swiss franc at the day before they unpack, well, you already earn 2.5 on the next day. After 24 hours they unpack, you'll probably already earn 2.5 more than this original previous day's value. When they unpack, the value of the Swiss franc went up, skyrocket, really skyrocket. But they're almost parity with the euros, I would say. Maybe slightly cheaper, I think, against euro at the moment. But yeah, they're the only notes that I know in Europe. They love using it vertical rather than horizontal. They use vertical. So if you look like this, probably there is an essence. They still use it like the serial numbers, the bank's name, still read in the conventional banknotes orientation, but a lot of the artworks has gone to vertical. The 20, big number 20, everything else is in a sense of verticality. Portraits, they're all in verticality, but the words is still probably used in a conventional orientation, the horizontal. Yeah, this is print 20 francs printed in the year 2005. Now how do you indicate, a few tips some people might not know, how do you indicate these the last generation banknotes? This is the last generation, is discontinued, but still have the value of the 20, still usable today in commercial, but they no longer print this design. This is an old design. The newer design is a little bit more different, which you can use your phone application, where you install their app or the Swiss Bank's app, and then you scan into this. I'll take a photo of the note itself, and it virtually comes out all the design like holographic on your phone, 3D. It's very interactive, very interesting, I would say. The only few countries I know use that one. One is Switzerland, the other one is Russia. Russia also use it as a security method of knowing that note is genuine, and integrating mobile phone because the whole world has mobile phones. So yeah, so anyway, back to the question, how do you indicate this note that is the when it was printed or series it was supposed to print, is the first two numbers. 05 stands for 2005, and that's how you know. They have number of signatures of the bank governors and so forth have been changed. The president of the bank has been changed quite a number of times. If you look at the pic, there are a lot of them, and then most of them change in over time. For 2 years or 3 years, they'll change the new bank, and then they'll change the signature on the banknote. So there are a lot of variation types of banknotes. Okay, but for me, I'm just focusing collecting the series denomination, and that's it. But at the moment, Switzerland is quite expensive, especially trying to get the 500 and the 1000 Swiss franc. Those are high value uh, capital. So I won't be anytime soon collecting this, especially the discontinued one like this one. They're much more expensive, probably already double its own face value. But so long the Switzerland bank still consider that as legal tender, the price will still be low as far as it goes, because the quantity will be still out there circulating in a circulated condition. So yeah. The next one I got from the auction house is from Cats. That's one. So yeah, 50,000 lira, 50 mila, from Banca d'Italia or the Bank of Italy. This, of course, Italy in light to the beginning of the euro currency. A lot of the local countries, sovereign banknotes discontinue, like Spain, French franc, German marks, Italy lira, or and Ireland's pound sterling all disappeared. They no longer print their own notes, and they print only euros because they are aligned to using euro currencies. So this is one of the remnants of the final decades or the final series of the Italian banknotes. And of course, I did show the last denomination I had is 500,000. 50 centimo mila. That is one of the highest denomination, and they're only printing 500,000 in the late few years, like 1996 till 1999, before they switched to euros. So those banknotes in a short period of span, less than 5 years, quantity is small, and that is why the reason why the different price between 100,000 lira and the 500,000 lira, the 500,000 lira skyrocket quite huge because of the quantity. There's very little. They only printed started printing 500,000 lira banknote in the late years, like less than 5 years before they changed to euros. So I noticed in my collection, I have all the small denominations from 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. I have them. Even the 100,000, I have them. Not in a good condition, I would say. Not in a very good condition. The only good condition is the one that I find in the auction house, which are only two notes: 50,000 lira and the 500,000 lira. And the 500,000 lira, I was very lucky to get it. It is a replacement note, so the price was right. This one, the price was almost, I paid a little bit more extra, about 10 or 15% more. That is face value. This is uncirculated. I find it very good. But of course, 50,000 is, I noticed that most of my dealers here don't have 50,000 liras. They have 100,000 and all other denominations smaller one, except 500,000 and the 50,000. They are quite rare to find. The 500,000 is nevertheless is going to be rare. It won't be in Malaysia by any dealers as it is. But for me, this one, 50,000, was quite extraordinary. I don't find any one of them have. So the front looks like this. 50,000 liras. Very beautiful. I like the color. No doubt about that. And this one is a version that is signed by Antonio Fazio and Spingaziali. The watermark is very profound, very profound. So yeah, I think when they roll out this note, some excess of the ink actually kind of stuck to the watermark, because the surface, I think, it is damaged by their printing machine. There's supposed to be no color, but there is some slight tonality color. I don't know whether you can see it, but there are stains here on the face of the watermark. It's supposed to be a watermark like that, so you can see this watermark. But when you look at on the surface itself, there are those colors like the 50,000 colors on top of it. Those purplish, dark purplish color there, dark violet colors. So yeah, the back is actually one of my favorite features of it. It's very beautiful. I really like this on the back. Now, Italian advantages of national pride on the banknote is very beautiful because most of the European art and civilization started in Renaissance period. Italy was the center of it. We have Colosseums from the Romans. We have the church, the Basilica, St. Peter Basilica, where they profoundly has a lot of Baroque style design in it. Rococo design, existential romanticisms. So all the artworks of the identifying West or European Genesis area is in Florence, Venice, Rome. These are the places where actually profoundly started the Western civilization, I would say. So they have a lot of pride in it and a lot of selections to put on the banknote to represent their country. And one of it like this is really superb. I really like this Italian. That's what sparks me to collect Italian banknote. Is this design and the choice of the buildings they can pick, or artworks. You know, they can pick Michelangelo. You can pick. Now, many of the famous art people can be on the banknote. Sorry, in earlier morning my mind is still warming up in the engine. That's how I'm missing out. I'm supposed to know this quite well, but yeah, it's just blockage in my mind. So that is the note I got from one auction house there. Now, the other auction house I got, this one is so let me clear this one out first. This one I bought it yesterday, just so near $1. The only difference uniquely is this is spelled with the Commonwealth of Australia. Now, most of the notes that people have, and they produce a lot during that time by the Reserve Bank of Australia, is actually the ones with Australia only. The word Australia, they omitted the Commonwealth of out of the banknote and just straight away put a simplified Australia on the banknote. Now those are the most common and the most cheapest that you can get, and that is the last generation of paper money before they converted in 1988 to a polymer. Australia is the very first country to use polymer. They didn't developed it. They developed it based on the necessity of the environment of the citizens' needs. For example, one of the biggest highlight I think is very useful in Australia is actually when they convert to polymer is that there are a lot of people love to swim, and when they swim they keep their wallets with them or some money in their pockets. It's one of those great advertisement of why polymer is better than paper or cotton hybrid banknotes. It's because it's waterproof. That was the biggest selling point for a polymer at that time. Banknotes is waterproof. In the 1988 period, in the late 1980s or early 1990s, when you are the first country to invent it, what is the advantage? And a country in the whole world where money, physical money, still considered a bread and butter on trade. Now today we got e-wallets and before the rise of credit card, even at that time, credit card wasn't popular until mid 1990s, when the world started to use credit card. But during the about 10 years before the credit card rise, money is still supreme. Physical money is still reigns supreme, and being in the competition physical money, when you want to promote, hey, I'm changing the material to plastic, a plastic money or polymer money. So what's the advantage? At that time, the best promotion or best advertisement on the banknote advantage of using polymer was waterproof. Now, the early setback of the time of the polymer banknote, like any petroleum-based product, once you hit UV, ultraviolet, it destroy and disintegrate the banknotes. So a lot of the early days banknotes, even today, some countries actually supposed to be moving towards a polymer banknote. If I'm not mistaken, Principal, St. Thomas and Principal Island, they were supposed to use a polymer, and in a couple of years they actually reverted back to conventional paper money because because of their climate. It's a hot, humid climate, and a lot of the notes were exposed to UVs, so the notes actually disintegrate, the color faded, and so forth. We still have that problem, but I don't think it's because of Australia's printing method, because their notes is quite advanced compared to many other countries like Thomas de la Rue use or Quebec use. Australia is the pioneers. They're the experts, being the first country to develop. In 1988, they developed polymer. So that time, the selling point into Australia and to most of the countries is waterproof, because water damages normal banknotes easily. Like sometimes you put a lot of money in your wallet, you forgot to put it in your pocket, you forgot to take it out, and then you wash your clothes. Boom, your banknotes all damaged, and then you have to go. But not to worry, of course, you can go to the bank to reclaim. Some countries are a bit more strict; they have the same forms, blah blah blah. You're wasting your time. So best selling point in the 1980s, and polymer banknote by Australian printer is very simple. It's waterproof. That's it. That's the biggest selling point, I can tell. So yeah. So those days, this is the first. This is one of the modern paper used on their banknotes. I can say that this is modern, very clean, very simple. Not very easy to be forged, I would say, of course. But at that time, banknotes were still very difficult to be print on. So we don't have those special security features like silver threads and so forth. We just still use the watermark. We just still use the watermarks, as you can see here on the left, and the paper quality and the touch and feel of the intaglio print. So quite simple, I would say, in those days. But this is one of the few notes. The early days, they changed to decimal system. Now they have other notes before this, as you can see, like this one. This is considered still Australia, was printed in 1927, but they still use pre-decimal system. So they still use like £1, half a shilling, and so forth. And even worse, I do not know how much the value and conversion, florin. I just don't know. Those days, I just don't know how they actually use the conversion of the money. That is one of the reasons why Australia converted to the dollar system, decimal point, dollar system. I'll just call it the decimal system. For every 100 cent equals to $1. Simple, clear, cut. For every 100 cent is equivalent to $1. So that is what simplify everything actually compared to sterling and so forth and pound. So yeah, this is one of the advantages. So this is one of the first banknotes that printed using decimal system, $1, not £1, $1. Banknotes is very Aboriginals artworks. The front part is Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Of course, if you all know, she passed away. She went to heaven, I would say. People would like to say. And in the banknote itself, she looked more. I wouldn't say elegant. I would say strong woman. Fits in the very good culture in Australia. I believe she's wearing her royal, the order of the one of the orders, the garter, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, so yeah, very beautiful. I like this one. Without the crown, it's actually very good for Australia, because the sentiment was starting to going down in Australia, and they were more approaching towards Federation, Republic Federation. So yeah, the front has the emblem of the government, the seal of the country, the government. Signature, World Bank Reserve. The back is all Aboriginal, the the first landowners in Australia. So it's suitable to put on the $1 note. Now, many countries actually decided to put their face of their most important person on the lowest denomination. Some people might think, hey, if he's so important, who is the founder of the country, why not he is be on the biggest denomination? Now the problem is how you spread the message. If he's so very important and you want to let most penetrate to every citizen, the smallest denomination is the best choice. That's why, like United States, like Australia, they put the very important people on the smaller denomination. George Washington is on the $1 bill, not on the $100 bill. And so for in that time Australia, $1 should be the Queen of Australia on the banknote. So that's one of the purpose. Of course, as time passed by progressively, early 90s and 20s, Queen Elizabeth, she moved to $5 as the smallest denomination, because $1 denomination of banknote has been used into a coin in Australia. So they no longer print $1 banknote. They do still make $1 coins. So yeah, vice versa. That's $1. Now, this 3 is something I've got from the auction house, again from Unique. I'd like to give a shout to them, and I do encourage people who is looking for auction, especially your Malaysians, all also Unique auction house. I think it is very good. So far for me, my experience is so far so good. So yeah, I give a shout out to them for Unique House, and I hope to see them more prosper, and I hope in the future they are able to find willing sellers to use their platform for as a middleman to host the sell items in their house. So yeah, that is something that I think that will be encouraging in the future. Again, every time you spend or win a bid and pay to the unit auction house, you get a point system, and as you accumulate those points, eventually one day you can use the point to get discounts or rebates for certain items for to reduce the cost, or getting something special unique from Unit House. Who knows what they hold in the future, but at the moment the points is actually getting you to reduce your total bidding win costs. Sometimes you want to eliminate, let's say you want to eliminate the premium you're paying. So let's say you bid 50 ringgit, then you want to just pay 50 ringgit. You use those points to reduce those premiums, like those 10%, 5%, so depends on the premium you're paying, the hammer price plus the premium of the house. You can remove that and just pay the hammer price. So that's one of the advantages you can have if you are frequently a bidder and winning participate in the bidding in their establishment. Okay, so the first note, I got all 3 as the United States. They come in one lot. Something all I don't have, to be honest. This one is the yellow seal $10 or 10 certificate, silver certificate, $10 worth of silver. Now it looks similar, almost everything looks similar, and the note, this note until 1996, before they changed small portrait to a big portrait. That's what is the current design is right now is. So everything looks the same. I won't say much about the design. It's pretty standard. What is the difference is this is a silver certificate. The 10 is written in blue 10 here, and it is a yellow seal. Green seal is for the Federal Reserve note, which we see very common today. Now of course they use dark green color for it to last even longer, because the lighter the color, it will fade. So this happens, this note has faded. So even if you zoom in right here, you can't see much. Even I myself can't see much of it with my own eye. The details is lost quite, just only identified as yellow. So yeah, it went through a hell, I would say, this note. This note is actually used, the only sole purpose of this note use is for transaction with the Allied forces, or mainly the American army, in the North Africa campaign. If you're in North Africa campaign and you're being paid and so forth, or the use of the money within the local area that the Allies occupied, they use this currency. And in case if the Nazis or the Axis power at that time takes over and got this money in huge quantity, the bank, the treasury in the United States Department, they actually can just say all yellow seal notes are null and void, cancel. It's just a similar case what they did for Hawaii when Japanese. So Hawaii is the brown seal. Okay, they overprint the notes, also silver certificate. They overprint this note with Hawaii from back and the front, but this one is just overprint news, and they just print this overprint Hawaii, and the serial number in brown and the seal is in brown. The rest is already printed onto the banknote, so that is why they done such a way. And the only notes that they use this one is silver certificate, or if it's a regular note, it would be from San Francisco branch L. You only can find Hawaii in L serial numbers. C, like silver certificate, they still use C and the normal alphabet, so because it doesn't affect them. So the bottom one is the Hawaii campaign in Pacific campaign against the Japs, and the top one is the North African campaign against the Axis power between the Italians and the Germans. So condition wise, I think is a very decent, very fine. I won't say high, very fine, probably middle heavy, middle or low, very fine condition. So yeah, it's one of the good one of my first note I had in North Africa campaign. That's one of the targets that I want to collect. The next one, probably I'll just go with this one, a bit more chronological. This was printed in 1934. So when they changed the signature, they put 1934A. And the 1934 is a very short print. So if you got 1934 and it's genuine, they're worth a lot of money. 1934A is the common one. So you can get this one in a good price. Probably is because there's A on it. If there is no A and it's genuinely no A on note, then you hit the jackpot. This note worth a lot of money, probably $600, $600 or $700, quite in minimum price. If it's in good condition, thousands of dollars. If there's no A series, just a year. After the war, the next one, this is during the war period. This one is a very unique note. You know, many people don't see this note. It's $100. They consider this as a national currency. $100. This is parked under Richmond, Virginia. under the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, Virginia, will be paid the bearers on the amount of $100. Now, this one is the Federal Reserve. It's not the federal. That's the entire country. It's only have their own asset, their own account in Richmond, Virginia. How much gold they have, how much silver they have, or whatever they're holding on at that time, has been already deposited to the Treasury on Washington D.C. or any other proof of security uh, um, office in their record to reinstate the value of the notes they issue. So this is a period where the country is trying to unite the currency into a more mold into a national singularity rather polarity, singularity, which what we see today in American banknotes today. Everything is controlled under the Federal Reserve note (FRN), and the Treasury will communicate with the Federal Reserve Bank to release new notes, how quantity, they govern it. So it's all centralized into one. If you look at America and before, they're much more decentralized. There are so many private banks having to say that I can print this note because I have deposited in my bank. I have real gold and real coins of worth and the value of blah 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 blah. Okay, so and they are all printing their own private notes. So that's why you got to see a category of obsolete notes. Literally, there's a section called obsolete notes in the United States that people do collect, like the Citizen Bank. All those minor banks became obsolete when the federal government took over bit by bit, and it became as it is today as a Federal Reserve note controlled by and monitored by the Federal Reserve Bank. Of course, the Federal Reserve Bank does not serve commercial. They do monitor and regulate and provide guidelines to the commercial banks. So at that time, each of the federal banks have also tried to deposit money in each of those location of the federal bank. This one, for example, in Richmond, in Virginia, they have deposited to the Treasury how much number or to other security department, how much quantity, then they print out the notes. Now, this E is considered used as those days as a security features, which is still widely used in today's banknote, but it's quite literally obsolete because it's print on. There's no further security to prevent the notes being counterfeit. This is actually a method to prevent counterfeiters of the American banknotes. Even during those days, it's quite simple. They print E because Richmond is considered as A, B, C, D, E, the fifth bank in their rotation number, so which is usually today. So they put E, and the first serial number, okay, as you can see, is also an E. So it's almost coming to close. This is as a trial run of the banknote design or the system they put out, and it evolved into what we see today's banknotes. At that time, this is called also brown or a bit red seal. Sorry, a little bit more brown and red together. But I prefer to just call it brown seal. Okay, let's call it brown seal to use this. So a lot of people thought that the first prefix is AA. Actually, it's not. If you say A in the front, this has to be A, and the branch of the bank should be in Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's not Philadelphia. B is New York. If I'm not mistaken, it's Boston. Boston is A, the first federal bank in their zone, first zone. Second zone is New York. Third zone is in California. California, Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, and etc. As is used to today, So yeah, this is a national currency. Want to know? I think it is very nice, in a very good condition. It's not so bad, not so good, I would say. Very fine, probably at the low point of very fine condition. It has strong folds already. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the corners are quite knit. They folded, like curled up. The corners are not focusing. A lot of them are focusing. They've been curved. There's pen marks, stamp marks. I don't know why they put stamp here. I can't read what's that. Stain marks, serial number stamp here. So there's a lot of foreign debris on the note. Doesn't look really nice, but for a high denomination of $100 at that time, it's quite exquisite to find it in an auction house in Southeast Asia selling US dollar. It's quite rare indeed. And I do it say this year I'm collecting United States dollar. This one also in the early days. This is printed in, I didn't say this was printed when. This is a printed in 1929. Okay, this is printed in 1929. This one is printed in 1934. So the evolution from this to this, okay, and this, they would change the condition of this note when the president enact that the gold would be confiscated, where US slowly converting US dollar out of value from the gold standard and then the silver standard, and became fiat money. The final nail to the coffin, where the money will become absolutely untied to the gold standard and the silver standard, would be under the President Nixon, where he actually wrote an executive order, and also Congress approved an act to cut ties of the US dollar with the gold and the silver price, which means it makes US dollar based on the confidence of the global market of the people. If you are very confident with US dollar is going to be very good, then the dollar will be more expensive or still strong or stable. If you have no confidence to it or no hopes of it, then the dollar goes down. That's how fiat money works. But to reassure people, to bring hope and confidence, that means the country's economy needs to be strong. And if the country's economy is strong, then then the currency would remain strong. Of course, the United States are making the law under President Nixon. Most of the countries of the whole world follow suit to convert their money to as fiat money. So this time, this note, when they converted, nearly perfecting the art of the current system that they have created. It will be parked under the Federal Reserve note to print the money, to design the money, and how much quantity you're going to disperse, and so forth, is under one authority. Then there became a green seal. 1934, and those days they put the Washington D.C. as the center of the capital, which the department is located. And then the note here, this condition is, I'll read it out. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and is redeemable in lawful money at the United States Treasury or at any Federal Reserve Bank. What it means is it's still tied to gold value. If you wanted to convert it to be gold, it's still redeemable. And yeah, those are the things that it is. That the early days is still tied to those systems. So again, if talk about the design, nothing so different. If most of you have collected United States banknote, you see this design all the way to the banknote in 1996. they are all the same throughout those years. Even this is printed in 1934, the design is still the same use until 1996, when they changed a small portrait center to a slightly left larger portrait on the left, which we see today. Now the reason is they are able to change because there is no law or act that restricts them, the Federal Reserve Bank, to actually, or the Treasury, to modify the design of the banknote. The only banknote that actually restricts and regulated and requires a Congress approval and signed by the president after approved is the $1. I don't know about the $2, but I know the $1 is strictly regulated. That is why you don't see the $1 today's banknotes printed by the United States. They are still using the same small portal from the early days of from the 1990s to today, almost more than 100 years, still the same design. They never change because the law prevents it, the act prevents it, for it to be modified. But they did not restrict the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, and the 100 to be modified. Or it can be modified with a better security age. Even security age of the note cannot be changed in the $1 unless the Congress approves. So a little bit fun fact that I kind of studied and find out through YouTubes and books, or magazines, I would say. But whether it's true or not, if those of you who have an expert or any reference point, do give me a comment to let me know, to correct myself if I'm wrong. I'm willing to learn, of course. The back, as you can see, is still the same, like like the $100 as you should see in notes before 1996. So yeah, not so special. Of course, 3 is the security age. C is the letter of at number 3. That's why they use a C. Now the older one version is actually also they use numbers in here. The C is a 3. So they added a so-called little twist of it. They put C in it and the 3 at these corners here as a security feature. And then the serial numbers at the beginning also must start with a C. Okay. Now, most probably they done like this, remove the number from here and put a C here. It's because the serial number they have to put a alphabet. That is why they probably changed from a 3 to a C, because C is a third number, of the alphabet. So that is why probably the serial numbers need to be an alphabet. They put a C into it. The last one can be coordinately changed from A to B to C to D, E. That is after the numbers are run out, they put the next alphabet. But the front one will always remain C. Okay, it will always remain C. So each time the president change, each time the administration change, the series will also change altogether. So you won't find any time period that the banknote ran out of the serial number. They won't, because they know that eventually after 8 or 10 years of administration, there will be a change in the person in charge. So yeah, condition wise, I would say also very fine at a low point, because they had a very strong line cut through here that I really get annoyed. But overall the notes are actually quite nice, slightly strong on the corner edge, slightly widowed here, like a roll up here. Foreign stain marks, yeah, there are plenty, I would say. It's being used, the evidence of wear and tear. There's a fold here, plenty of folds, I could say. Yeah, all in all, I think the note's still in a better condition compared to this one. It's not so tainted with foreign stain, but they do have, like, here's everywhere stained here, the other stain here, and the same here, here, but the middle is quite okay. So it is less damage compared to this note. So I put that probably at the middle very fine, rather than a low very fine condition. So there you have it. This is the notes that I've got since last week and yesterday. Notes I just put it back here. So the interesting days of notes, and yeah, I won't be getting any new notes at the moment. Um, at the moment, probably bid comes in next week or so. I'll get another notes probably by end of the month or so. But yeah, or next month, who knows. But anyway, I won't be buying notes for this, so you might be seeing my next video probably a longer time period of my absence. So be patient. If I have new things to show, I'll just try to prop it in, or anything I want to talk about, some certain specialized note, I will probably post it in. But in the meantime, if you're waiting for my next note that I've bought or received, it won't be very anytime soon. Probably 3-4 weeks later. So in the meantime, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching my video. If you like the video, please do give me a like. If you wish to see my future video, do subscribe. And if you have any comment or anything that I make a mistake or any information that is wrong, do give me a comment. I do appreciate that to correct myself, or if any mistake is there. If not, well, it's open a can of worms to debate on. So thank you again, and I hope to see you real soon. Bye bye.